basically, the technology we're going to look at is search engines. And the major math concept that we're going to bring into this is algorithms and algorithm analysis. So we'll define algorithms formally later in the unit next week. But basically the algorithm, well, I'll maybe ask the question. If anyone wants to answer, raise your hand in the participants box. What do you think an algorithm is? If I asked you, what's an algorithm? What would you say? You can raise your hand, I'll call on you. Okay, yeah, Mike, what do you think?
It's sort of like a step-by-step instructionary, or a step-by-step set of instructions for computers.
Right, okay, so the answer there was step-by-step set of instructions for computers. We can actually strike those last two words. It's a step-by-step set of instructions. So an algorithm is some process for accomplishing some task. We usually now sort of in 2020 think of algorithms as being computerized things, but algorithms don't have to involve computers and digital devices, okay? We can have lots of algorithms that don't. And so what we're gonna do today is for the first half of the class period, have sort of a practical on algorithms in real life. And then while that's sort of working in the background, once we've got it going, we'll have some fun with search engines. See, Jonathan's also got a comment. What's up?
Yeah, I was going to say it's a series of if-else statements that you can follow based on what you're given.
Okay, so if-else statement.
Computer science way.
Yeah, so if-else, so certainly one of the components that we'll see next week for algorithms is that they can make decisions. Algorithms can certainly look at the ground game and see, oh, what's going on right now, what's the current status of things, and use that information to inform what step comes next. Absolutely, and we'll talk about that more in detail next week. So this is really great. So what I guess I'd like to do today to try to get us going is to start thinking about algorithms in real life. So this might be one for sort of short comments to use the chat bar there, but what are some areas in your real life where you use algorithms? Let's try to use non-computerized ones. Certainly, oh, I type on my computer and the computer's executing an algorithm. Yes, that's true. But when you as the person are actually, like doing the steps, what are some places in your day-to-day life? Following recipes. Yes. Driving. Yes. So what specifically about driving? Okay, so giving directions. Oh, nice spring answer. Planting. Absolutely. Okay, so these are ones. So like driving, one of the places this might be, you've got your routine when you get in the car. Okay, so you might first get in the car. Well, first you have to open the door, then you get in the car, then you adjust the seat, then you adjust your mirrors, then you put on your seatbelt. Somewhere in there you actually start the car. If you've got power seats and power mirrors, you do that before adjusting them. And only after you've done all those steps do you actually, put the car in reverse or drive in the correct gear and go. So some other answers: calculating how much money you're going to spend when shopping. Absolutely, you have a process for that. For how to pay bills, for doing laundry. Absolutely, these are all great places that have algorithms. So what I would like to do today as a practicum on algorithms is actually going with one of the answers here that came up very first, is following recipes. How many of you like to eat? If you like to eat, hit the yes button. If you don't like to eat, hit the no button. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of yeses. That's what I would expect, because sort of same thing for me. I enjoy eating. And recipes are one of the most familiar algorithms in that sense, where how we produce the food, how we eat the food, all follows algorithms. So what I would like to do this morning, and you'll notice that I'm standing in my kitchen right now, not sitting at my desk like I normally am when I'm here talking with you, is have some fun with a recipe. So what we're going to do is talk about and play with making a batch of chocolate peanut butter muffins. As a note, in normal semesters when we actually have in-class meetings, normally this is chocolate chip cookies. But seeing as I don't really want to eat an entire batch of chocolate chip cookies by myself, I'm going to make something that I will eat. So we've modified this up a little bit. But we're going to go and play with this and see what happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do is change the video that's being shared. And I apologize, my webcam got knocked down here. So you can all sort of see my countertop okay? All right, lots of yeses, great. And so what we're gonna do is work through the algorithm here and see how we can make chocolate peanut butter muffins. together. So we've got the recipe up on the slides. And yes, this will be something you can take home with you at the end of class, and you can try these. Just be warned, I am sort of a fitness person. These are relatively low carb and low fat muffins. They're not the sweetest thing on the face of the planet if you have a lot of sugar in your diet. I think they're delightful. I also recognize I'm weird. But so you can see we've got a bunch of the ingredients listed on there. So we've got bananas and eggs and cocoa powder and baking powder and baking soda and all of that. We've got some instructions down on the bottom. So, you know, combine bananas, eggs, milk, honey, peanut butter, vanilla, blah, 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 and all that. And so the question is, how do we go? So if we want to now make muffins, where do we start? So we've got all the information we need there on the slide. What do we do first? So if we're going to think of recipes as an algorithm, what's the first thing we have to do? Okay, so the first thing we have to do is gather the ingredients. All right, I'm going to flip the screen back over here. And you can see potentially that over here, we've got a whole bunch of ingredients. So like we've got some bananas, and notice they're nice and ripe. I'm just glad I remembered to buy them like a week and a half ago. Okay, so measuring out all the ingredients, we'll get to that in a little bit. That's maybe not the first thing we have to do. But yeah, gathering the ingredients is a good step. What's maybe the next thing we want to do? Now that we've got, so I've got the bananas and honey and peanut butter and the baking powder and baking soda and cocoa powder and chocolate chips, and there's oats and all that over there. Okay, so read the directions. Yep, we've done that. We've got them in front of us. Okay, we can start measuring. I think we're missing a few steps. The first thing we clearly want to do is put on the apron that our grandmother made for us a decade ago. That way we don't get ingredients all over, you know, our nice polo shirt and dress clothes. Okay, so we can do that. Second thing, okay, so people are also putting in bowls. For this recipe, we won't actually need bowls. When we flip back over, I've got a really big blender, and we can just do everything right in the blender, and that works out just fine. But yep, so gather bowls and other non-ingredients, but utensils that we'll need is a good step. What's the next thing we want to do now that we've got our wardrobe protected? Anyone who's baked before, what do you always start with? Okay, even one thing before we wash our hands. Yes, I like in the fact that we're in this you know, pandemic here that you're remembering to wash your hands. Aha, there we are, preheat the oven. Yes, we need the oven to start heating up. So what temperature do we need to set the oven to? Okay, yeah, we can look at our recipe and see it's 350, so we come over here, bake, 350. Oven will be hot in 10 minutes, which will be more than enough time, okay? Now that we've preheated the oven, we'll come back up and go to the other step of washing hands. So I've got my sink right here. Got some soap. Washing hands. Nice and thorough. All right, and we'll dry those off. All right, so now we've gathered our ingredients. We've washed our hands, we preheated the oven. I'm gonna flip the camera back over to the countertop. And what comes next? What do you think we should do? So, I said pull out the mixing bowl. So we've got our, you can see, maybe you can't quite see the top of the blender. It's hard to position the camera here, but I'll bring it over. Nice big blender that we can use. So let's see, what do we do? Combine ingredients. Which ingredients? Dry then wet. Well, in this case, I think let's look at the recipe. It starts off with combine bananas, eggs, milk, honey, PB, and vanilla. So those are more like the wet ingredients to start with, okay? Yes, those of you that have baked know to do dry and wet separately. Okay, so we get, first of all, our bananas. And so it says to combine the bananas. So pull this off, bring it down here so we can see. And so we can take one of the bananas and we drop it in the blender, right? Oh, we have to peel them. Good call. Yeah, banana peels aren't always the tastiest thing. So we have to peel the bananas. So peeling. And then once we peeled it, we can just drop it in the blender, right? We're good for that? No, we don't have to cut them. That's what the blender's for. Eh, RIP everyone who's not attending this lecture. That'd be really true if we had in-person classes because there would be samples at the end. But unfortunately, I can't give you all samples of this. But I can give you the recipe and encourage you to try them on your own. And I might even go and put in the normal chocolate chip cookie recipe that we would usually have here if you want to try those more to your liking. Okay, so we've got 2 bananas in the blender. We're peeling, we've got our 3rd banana. And we've got our 3 bananas. All right, okay, so you just heard the timer went off. So let's see what we've got over here. I'm gonna pull out trimmings to put them on because they're gonna be a little hot. We're going to remember to get the oven mitts that were not in our instructions. And we'll turn the